Next up, we have example 3-6. I'm going to divide this into two videos. The composer wrote this by drawing from both D Dorian and D natural minor. Throughout the piece, we move back and forth between them. Let's take a listen first, then we'll dive in. This piece is a bit longer than others, running just over a minute. So here it is, example 3-6. There's a lot we can talk about, but let's just walk through some of what's happening here. The big thing I'll focus on is when we move between the modes. In the beginning, we open up with these high woodwinds, and by measure 2, we get a clear D minor harmony. Notice on beat 4, piccolo and flutes play B in the melody, so that's our character note, the natural 6. But then this resolves right away to A minor, and remains there in measures 3 and 4. Then in measure 5, we get a shift in the harmony. Winds and low strings spell out G minor, G in the bass, B flat in the flute, which is crucial, and then these Fs are like the flat 7th of the chord. And the melody plays E stepping down to D. Altogether, we could call this a G minor 13 harmony that moves to G minor 7. That 13, otherwise known as the 6th, resolves down to the 5th of the chord. The big thing to notice here, instead of a B natural, the second flute plays B flat. We also get B flat in the bass line. If we compare, there's a lot of overlap between the Dorian mode and the natural minor scale. But this note, B flat, is outside of Dorian, so we're borrowing it from the D natural minor scale. Let's keep going for a second. By the way, I like the bass line in measure 6. It steps up from D to E to F. It's almost like a counter melody. It finally reaches G in measure 7, but by this point the harmony has changed. The winds spell out A minor, A, C, and E, and the bass plays G the 7th, so we basically have an inverted A minor 7 harmony. But look what happens in measures 7 and 8. The melody comes to rest on B, so we're back to using B naturals now. So to recap, we started with the notes of D Dorian, we borrowed from natural minor, and then went back to Dorian. There's a term for this type of borrowing, and it's called modal interchange. All it means is we're in one mode, Dorian, and then we temporarily borrow notes from another mode, in this case, D natural minor. You might recall at the start of the course, we mentioned the natural minor scale is also a mode, and it's called Aeolian. We'll cover Aeolian more in our next section. In the meantime, stay tuned for part 2.